How have they spent the money that they've spent and got the players that they've got, and they're still not good enough? So what needs to happen in the summer?
I think it's a little bit harsh on Amorim to say he's changed it up and what's he actually doing, because he knows how he wants to play. He's told everyone how he wants to play, and he said, we can't do it yet. Because we haven't got the players, and they're not clocking on to the tactical shift and the positional shift. So he's had to change it.
Hello and welcome to another episode of your favourite podcast, or at least one of them. Maybe the top 5, maybe top 10. Well, okay, you've heard us before.
Well, I'll take top 10. I'll take top 50.
I'd take top 100. There's a lot of podcasts out there. So if we're in the top 100, then that's saying something, isn't it? You'd do that with songs, wouldn't you? If you're in the top 100 and you'd release a song, you'd take that.
Yeah. Do you remember the Spotify Wrap that they do every Christmas? Or something in December? I want to know who had us in their top 5 podcasts other than me, you, and Rob from Couch to Coached.
Okay.
So if you are listening and it was in your top 5, please let us know. I'd be really interested. Let us know in comments or email us footballdroppodcast@hotmail.com. Will knows that email very well.
Yeah, and just to check, still no one has emailed it.
What about Steve?
Pete from Manchester. Pete from Liverpool. Sorry, Pete from Liverpool. If you are listening, what a ledge. Thank you so much for it.
We're definitely in his top 5.
100%.
I think it's only been him and someone else that's only ever actually emailed us, so fair play.
Oh, we've had a few. Sorry.
How are you? Obviously boring you, clearly.
Sorry, that came out of nowhere. I'm tired today. I've had a busy week. How's your week been?
Yeah, let's get into yours, mate. What have you been up to in the last 7 days?
Good question. What have I been up to? I've been to Disneyland, Paris.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, mate.
The city of love, and you went to Disneyland.
Went to Disneyland, yeah. There's something quite unromantic about, sharing the bedroom, the hotel rooms with 2 other kids. I say 2 other kids, like there was... That sounded weird.
I was going to pick up and I thought, let's see if he says anything. Otherwise, I'm going to have to interject here.
Just the normal 2 kids that should be there. Let's just add.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said it like that. That's very weird. Yeah, so, very unromantic being in Disneyland, but it was very nice. Should we move on from that? Let's just move on. Let's not.
Did you have a nice time?
Yeah, it was good, mate. I'll tell you what, right? So I've never driven abroad before. I've never driven outside of the UK, so I don't really know what it's like to drive on the right-hand side of the road, or the wrong-hand side, as I kept calling it. I was so nervous, mate. Literally, I must have had about 4 wheeze from getting to the Eurotunnel to then getting onto the train, and then had to have another wee on the train because I was so nervous. But what I have learned is, so I don't know why, but I thought that when you'd be abroad and you're driving on the other side of the road, you'd come up to a roundabout and there would be the opportunity to kind of go the wrong way round, like they're set up to drive on the left hand side, but they just choose to drive on the right. But obviously, it's not like that. You just go.
Obviously,
you go up to a roundabout and it naturally leads round the wrong way, or the right way, as they would probably call it, and it just. I don't know why it shouldn't be surprising, but I was so surprised at how fucking easy it is.
Are you okay? That's a really dense thing to say.
Well, yeah, but come on, that's probably not the most dense thing I've ever said.
No, I mean, you did just say that you shared a room with 2 other kids. Yeah, it's not the weirdest thing you've said in the last 5 minutes, to be fair. So, yeah, well done. I didn't realise that's your first time driving abroad.
Yeah, first time, yeah. So 3-hour trip down to Paris. Very beautiful. What a beautiful country France is. I know that's not new news. But yeah, it was very nice. Disneyland was very good. We did lots of walking. We did lots of rides. We did lots of shows. We did all of this, that and the other. I had a really good time. Done lots of eating, lots of drinking. And I've managed to come back and I'm about the same weight. So I'm quite happy with that.
That's impressive, mate. Well done.
Thanks.
That's seriously impressive.
Yeah. How's it been for you?
It's been very quiet this week, I'm not going to lie.
I bet, yeah.
I've got a lot more done in my life than normal. in the last 7 days, I must admit.
We
My
have
productivity has gone through the roof
We
until
speak
today.
so much. It's unreal.
We do. And it's surprising that we still have shit to talk about on the pod.
I know.
Because we met
Yeah.
up Saturday, went for a
Did
walk
we?
around the park.
Oh,
I had
yeah.
Lizzie, you had little smudge of room. Filled me on your holiday. It was great to listen, great to hear it all. And then this morning, we spoke for about an hour. And I was like, so how's your holiday? And then you told me more details about your holiday. And just about how incredible someone's appetite is, which I'm very impressed about. And then I think we spoke about 12 times since then.
Yeah, just
Quite
getting ready for
impressive.
this stuff, you know. We had a lot to catch up on. We
Yeah,
had a lot to catch up on.
yeah, we definitely did. We definitely did. But no, other than that, mate, my week's been pretty quiet. It's been pretty good. I've had Basic weekend, which was nice. Had her
How
on
is she?
Saturday. She's doing really well. Yeah, she's on lots of different types of solid foods now. Not obviously eating them as such, but she's attacking them and throwing them everywhere. Loves fruit, loves Weetabix.
Nice.
I must say, I'm not a fan of Weetabix. It goes everywhere.
You're not a fan of fruit either, are you?
Bananas, apples, grapes, oranges.
Here we go.
It's about my limit.
Pears?
Stairs?
This is really shit podcasting.
Apples and
Let's
pears,
move on.
stairs.
Yeah, so how, like, the big question is, how is the diet going? Like, I say diet, how's the lifestyle of healthy living, healthy being, healthy eating? How's that all going?
Yeah, it's been okay generally. I've been up a couple of days on calories, but I do feel a lot better eating better food. So yeah, I can't really complain too much. I think I'm like half a kilo up today, but I think a lot of that is water weight. I think that'll be gone by the time we go to football tonight. I am struggling with my back though, which is a bit of a concern.
Yeah, what's going on?
Well, I think I've done a bit too much exercise, Will, I'm not going to lie. So obviously my big fat body is not used to doing this much
Don't
recently.
put yourself down like that. Don't talk about yourself like that.
I don't think I'm warming up properly for football, which doesn't help. We just don't get enough time,
Yeah.
which is really frustrating. You know, especially for me, it takes me a while to kind of loosen up a bit. Unless I need to be jumping about from the get-go, really. But no, other than that, I feel like I've been pretty good, to be honest, mate.
Good.
I'm really impressed with you, though.
You're impressed with me?
Yeah, being the same weight after, I'm sure you've had a nice week off. You've had some not so healthy food because you're on holiday and you're well entitled to that.
Yeah.
But how's it been other than that? Have you gone proper OTT or have you actually been reasonably restrictive?
Yeah, not too bad. Like, I think when you go away, naturally you are going to struggle for healthy eating. Like, there were salads available, but come on. So yeah, I think it was all right. It could have been worse. Could have been better, but it could have been worse. The walking helped, things like that. So you know, I'm going to be down this week again on my weight.
Excellent.
And actually, you know, today I've put on a t-shirt that a few months ago looked a bit like a tank top, and now it fits nicely. I've got a pair of trousers on that fit perfectly. Last time I wore them, and now without like undoing the buttons and stuff, I can like whip them down. Do you want me to show? Do you want me to show?
No, please don't. Please don't. Stay down. Stay seated.
Yeah, no, I can whip them down without undoing them. It's I'm starting to notice. Like I have to sort of check myself because I'll put this t-shirt on, like a bit like what you've just said to yourself. You're not very nice to yourself, and that needs to stop. So I sort of went, actually, appreciate where you have come from, where this t-shirt didn't fit, and now it does. So you're on the right pathway to kind of being, hopefully in the skin that you can appreciate. And I'm really enjoying running. I've been doing some 10Ks. So I've been doing 10K in about an hour at the minute. So I'm just, wanting to work on getting that to the other side of it now. Because it's about an hour and 1 minute, which is really annoying. I'm not going to lie to you. When you're at an hour and 1 minute, you are like, fucking hell, how can I make up a minute? So yeah, it's just little things like that I want to continue to do. I'm really enjoying my weights. I even, for the first time ever, went into a gym at a hotel whilst I was away.
Yes, you did. Well done.
And did a nice session. So yeah, I'm definitely feeling better for it. Although I'm fucking knackered today, absolutely knackered.
Yeah, you've done a lot of driving. So you got back. Was it Friday, Saturday? And
Friday.
then
We did
Sunday
that.
you're out as well all day.
Yeah. You're not all
You're,
day, but yeah.
you're
Much
crazy,
of the
mate.
day, yeah. Yeah, it's been good though. I've had some good fun. I've had some nice meals, but now it's the time to put it right. Heading into Easter when there's going to be loads of chocolate, loads of roasts.
Yeah.
Yeah, loads of stuff going on. But no, I'm looking forward to the bank holiday weekend coming up because I feel like I need the rest after my week off.
Yeah, I can imagine so, mate. It sounds like it wasn't a resting week, it was a fun week, which is nice family time. But yeah, back to the grind.
Back to it, my G. Back to it.
To the grind. I'm just going to move swiftly on because whilst you was on holiday, Arsenal played a very, very big game in midweek.
Yeah, I missed it as well because I was away. We didn't, I didn't have the facilities to watch the game. Plus, that was the night I think we stayed out to watch the fireworks and the light show and stuff, which, by the way, was absolutely incredible. But I was just, I walked past the pub and I'd asked you to keep me up to date, hadn't I? And I'd walked past the
Yeah,
pub to get back to the hotel and I saw the football was on there and I was like, oh, I've missed such a good game. But I've caught up with it, so I know where we're at. But yeah, go on.
it was sublime. It was incredible. Declan Rice channeling his inner Roberto Carlos. That, honestly, the whip on that first free kick was incredible.
Did you hear what I think it was it Iron Robin or was it no? It might have been Schneider. Was it Schneider? Wesley Schneider. Did you hear what he said?
What do you say?
Simple, very simple to curl a ball like that. Nothing to do with how good Declan Rice is. The ball was out of place and the goalkeeper didn't do very well. I was like, "Fuck off, mate." That was an unbelievable.
I mean, there's certain things probably ring true with that. Declan said himself after, like, the keeper wasn't quite where he probably should have been. So he's like, no, I'm going to fancy it. I'm going to give it a go. But you still got to execute that. No matter how hard or how easy that kick is, you've still got to execute that in a big game with big pressure on the big stage.
Yeah, and I think before the game on Saturday, before the match, he was warming up. He was taking a few free kicks into an empty net. I think he missed out of 5 attempts. I think he missed 2 of them. So, and that's it. That's in an empty goal.
Yeah. And I think I can't remember the exact number, but I think it's like 334 or something, or attempts he's had it on free kicks or something like that. And he's not ever scored a free kick. And then he's done that. He's pulled that off.
2 in one game. That's the second
Yeah, and
one.
then 12 minutes later, he was like, fuck it, I'm going to have another go.
And got it,
that was top bins. That was the epitome of top bins.
Unbelievable, wasn't it? You couldn't have got it any more top bins. Otherwise, it's hitting the crossbar and going out.
Yeah, it was honestly like the feeling. It was just the sheer like jubilation of, oh my God, we've just done it.
I've heard a few stories from people who was at the stadium, and they said they've not heard the stadium like that for a long time.
Yeah, I have. I've had a couple of people. I had a guy from work he came in on the Wednesday, and he was like, it wasn't worth the way. He was pretty good, to be fair to him, but he'd been out all day, enjoying himself, getting himself like worked up for the moment. He said the match was just incredible. He's like, you could feel the sort of environment, the hostility towards Real Madrid, and just the sheer buzz of the fans. You just think, oh, I wish I was there. It's just one of those games. It just would have been incredible, especially to then come back. I'm sorry, and for then Mikel Merino to then score, which was a bloody good goal, and doesn't get any credit for it because Declan Rice has scored 2 absolute worldies. But that was an incredible goal from Merino as well.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I think he'll get the credit for it, but yeah, it's definitely going to have gone under the radar slightly with just how good Declan's goal was. But no, I did enjoy the game, and all being well, unless Real hit us for 4, which could happen. Let's be honest, it could happen, especially with their strike force and the way Arsenal have been playing recently. But hopefully not, and we go off and we play PSG and take that momentum into that game. That'd be great.
Yeah, it's one of those you can't. I know we're 3-0 up and we're comfortable at the moment. I still feel like we need to score a 4th. Score a quick goal, and now, for me, I think that'll then seal it. So we can then just sit back, not sit completely deep, but sit in a sort of regimented way and just hit them on the counter.
Yeah.
We've got the pace, we've got Saka, we've got Martinelli. They'll hit them.
Fingers crossed, mate. Fingers crossed. All being well, it all goes according to plan.
Are you going to be watching it?
I will be now. Yeah, I will be. Buzzing for it. Absolutely buzzing for it. I hope Villa can do something against PSG. That would be great. But I think we're probably going to play PSG. I think what was it? 3-1 it finished, didn't it?
3-1.
If I remember rightly.
They're not out, and it's at Villa Park as well.
If it had stayed 2-1, I think it would have been. It would have been well within their reach. I think 3-1 might just be out of their reach, but I don't know. It's Villa Park, like you say. Who knows?
Yeah, interesting. So that's let's just stop our Arsenal bias now, shall we?
Yeah.
How shit Man United?
Shit at the weekend.
Yeah, we don't talk about that. How shit Man United at the moment?
We've got a bit of a funny story, haven't we? Because we like to do sort of funny story news, don't we? And I was having a little look over the last sort of few days just to see what was really going on that was really, really funny. And there was a few things. And I thought, do you know what, actually? The best story for me it was Matic, wasn't it? It was Matic and Onana had a bit of a disagreement because Onana had said, probably clumsily, that Man United are a way better team than Lyon, that they were definitely going to win, that they're very confident. And nowhere, Matic just comes out and he's like, what are you talking about? If it was Edwin van der Sar or Peter Schmeichel or David De Gea, no problem with that. It'll be absolutely brilliant. But because it's Onana, he's one of the worst goalkeepers in their history, he's not having it.
Yeah, that was incredible. He said statistically, wasn't it? It was quite key. Statistically, the worst goalkeeper they've had in the modern era of football.
And what you got to do in that situation, if I'd said to you, statistically, at MVF football, you are the worst goalkeeper they've ever had. You've come at me again. There's a bit of back and forth. What you can't do is in your next game, if playing against me, is be at fault for both goals.
Yeah.
It was insane. Have you seen it?
I've seen the second one. I can't remember the first one off the top of my head.
They were both almost identical, where the ball came to him and it was like he'd never seen one before and he'd gone, oh, what the fuck is this? And he sort of just pushes it away and you're like, what have you done? It's so weird how he's so often that happens to him. And then he gets dropped.
Yeah.
Amorim, what a decision he's got to make now, by the way, because fast forward into the Newcastle game, the goalkeeper who took over from him was what was his name? Bashir? Is that his name? Bashir?
Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce it, but yeah.
And I just think, what does Ruben Amorim need to do? Because Man United, in every single position, they were poor. They were quite lucky, fortunate, I think, to go in 1-1 at half-time.
Yeah. Yeah, they were. And I think Newcastle just turned it on for the second half.
Well, did they? Or did they just play to their game, play to their strength? Their midfield was far superior. And just beat Man United in those positions. I mean, defensively, what were Man United doing? They were that Harvey Barnes, the second goal for Harvey Barnes, where he just got the ball. And there was just so much confidence for him to just he just thought, do you know what? I don't think anyone in this team is going to be able to tackle me. So he just charged through the middle of two defenders after mugging the ball off and smashing it in the top. And you just think...
Yeah. You can't be doing that. You shouldn't be able to do that.
It was unbelievable, mate.
I mean, that happened in another game, didn't it, as well? Against, who was it, Spurs and Wolves?
Yeah, we'll come on to that. Yeah, we'll come on to that.
So, you shouldn't be doing that at this level, and that just should not be happening. But that's what's that down to? Lack of confidence, lack of positional awareness, lack of actual working as a team. It's all of it, isn't it?
I've been thinking about it a lot, actually, Man United, over the last sort of few days, because I don't know if you listened to the Russell Martin interview that they had on The Rest is Football, which was really interesting. And he was kind of talking about sticking to his plans, and that he didn't feel that he could go, from playing out of the back, even though that was probably he didn't want to say to them, look, we've been training this, we've been doing this for this amount of time. Now you're not good enough to do it. We're going to change it up. He didn't feel like he could do that, which I kind of understand. But I think you are playing in a different level. You're playing in the Premier League. You might need to change things up to match with some of the big boys. You're not necessarily saying you're shit. You're just saying we are not getting the results and we are not as good as the other people at the moment. Let's just change it slightly. And I think he probably would have admitted that. But he wants to play to his style. Amorim is kind of doing that, but what has he changed? Is he changing it too much? Because he started off with, he likes to play how he likes to play with his wing backs, etc. He then kind of changed that, and now I just don't know what he wants. And it's the same old story now. Is what type of football does Man United want to play? How have they spent the money that they've spent and got the players that they've got, and they're still not good enough? So what needs to happen in the summer?
I think it's a little bit harsh on Amorim to say he's changed it up and what's he actually doing, because he knows how he wants to play. He's told everyone how he wants to play. And he said, we can't do it yet. Because we haven't got the players. And they're not clocking on to the tactical shift and the positional shift. So he's had to change it, like everyone's been saying for a while that they need to. He's changed it to try and fit their strengths as much as possible, but still understanding what's going on. So if he can do all of that, hopefully in the summer, they'll end up buying a couple of players that fits into a system that know that position perfectly. And it just helps everyone settle down a bit more. But I do think they need about probably 6 or 7 additions that are going to make it in the first team. Not just like, add to the squad. That are going to be starting pretty much. They've still got a few good people there and it's great. But I do still think they need a keeper. I think they need a good top draw keeper. They need 1 or 2 centre backs. I think they still need wing backs, maybe an extra wing back for a cover that specialises as a wing back, another midfielder, and probably a striker. Because they've got attackers, they haven't got proper strikers really. Højlund's not doing it. Again, you can't necessarily blame it all on him. You said it a couple of weeks back before, he's quite young. But he's not getting the service necessarily, but he's also not clinical enough. Same as Xerxes. I mean, he came off at the weekend. Was it the weekend or midweek? I can't remember. He had a bit of an injury. Bruno Fernandes has done what he can, but he's only one person in that team. They need some huge, huge changes to get something going. Whether they raid Amorim's old club in the summer because they know how he operates, that may help them. But then you're proper going all in to back him. It's tough.
Yeah, no, it certainly is, mate. Certainly is. And the other team that have got that kind of issue is Spurs, isn't it?
I'm starting to feel bad because I know that we are quite biased at times against them. But I couldn't find anything that they did well at the weekend. Vicario looked so bad, didn't he? Who's normally pretty decent. He's got an error or two now and then, but he generally is quite a solid goalie. He looked awful.
Yeah. I mean, from sort of, from the middle of the pitch. I mean, up front, even their goal, Tell, it kind of just hit him and went in, and it was almost like, did I do that? Did I mean to do that? But the back, I think you were sort of going to mention earlier that there was the instant where Cunha just got the ball and ran through the middle of the sort of 2-3 players, and you're just thinking, how is that happening?
Aït-Nouri ran round Romero. Romero got himself in front of him to stop him running and still lost the ball.
Yeah.
I watched that 3 or 4 times. I can't work out how he's done it.
It's just such a lack of confidence from that team. They don't have any confidence in themselves. It just looks like whenever you see Ange now, he's head down, looking glum, sort of almost Eeyore-like, and it just feels like he I mean, they didn't do particularly well against Frankfurt, did they?
Was it 1-1
midweek
in the end, I think.
And that's the only opportunity. So if they're getting thrashed against Wolves. A couple of lucky goals. Even the Richarlison one was kind of fortunate that it fell to him. So it's not like they're doing anything well worked. The injuries that he said that he had, those players are now back. So it's a big rebuild job at both Man United and Tottenham, and they've already spent a lot of money. And it just doesn't seem to be working. Yeah. So is that what is that? I think Tottenham will get rid of Ange after the after the Europa League is done, whether that's next
I
week
think so.
or whether it's they get through to the next round. Whatever happens, I think he's going to go, and that is kind of not going to be a surprise. Amorim needs a really good summer, and he needs the money to spend, and whether he's going to have that or not is something different.
Yeah, I was going to say that he needs to be backed. That's going to be the big thing for them. If he's backed, the players know he's not just going to be like Ten Hag, going to be here for 18 months, 2.5 years, or however long he was there for. But no one, he ain't going to be a long-term kind of thing. No. Okay, he's not right. See you later. We're off. It's a case of, no, Amorim's here to stay. We're implementing his view, his vision, his style of play. If it takes 3, 4, 5 years, that's our plan. Stick to it. Interesting. Yeah. Big summer.
It is going to be a big summer. Yeah, it does feel like that. And with this summer, you've got a couple of the big teams playing in that World Club Cup Championship, which I think is going to be interesting because that's a lot of football to be played for Chelsea and City. I think, are they the only, is Liverpool in it? Or did they just miss out?
No, I don't think so. I think they missed out. I think Chelsea got in instead of them.
Yeah, I think you're right. But that's going to be, those two teams. I mean, Chelsea, dare we say it, going on to their game with a 2-2 with Ipswich, they were quite, to be honest, they probably could have won that game.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Exactly. But they're going to need a rebuild. They definitely need a striker. They definitely need a defender. And I think the same with City. City are on a bit of a rebuild. They're going to need a couple of players to come in. They're going to have that going on.
Yeah.
Big summer for a lot of teams.
I'm going to disagree about Chelsea. I don't think they need a rebuild.
Not a rebuild.
They've got 100 players, but
yeah, not a rebuild.
I think they need an experienced spine.
Yeah, they need somebody
to
come
attacker,
in. And,
a good defender / midfielder, and a good defender. Probably need a new goalie or give one of their 27 goalies a chance. Because Sanchez is not up to it, we know that. Jorgensen's not been that convincing. They've had a few ins and outs and stuff, so it's been a bit difficult for them. If they have those, just a couple of key, I guess probably not even necessarily like top players, but personalities and leaders that will be able to still play a fair amount of football still, but will be able to lead. Like a Jordan Henderson. He's great on the ball. He's a very good player. You wouldn't say he's a world-class player, but as a captain and a leader, he's fantastic, and he gets the team going. And that he'll put in 100% effort. He'll always want everyone to succeed, and you've got to bring yourself up to his effort level. Chelsea have 2 or 3 of those. I think they're a completely different team. But they haven't got any real... Reece James is their captain, and I don't see his leadership. Everyone does what they want. No one really listens as such. Like penalties, they'll just do what they want. It's happened a few times. I think with them, it's going to be tough. City, I completely agree. I think they need 5 or 6 new players, and they'll probably go and sign 5, 6 new players because they've got the money.
Yeah, and that's not, I did use the wrong word. Rebuild at Chelsea isn't really what I meant. I just meant a couple of players. A rebuild at City, I think, will probably happen, and a rebuild tends to be half the team. So I think 5 players will probably be about right for City. Especially with the defensive errors that they've had this season. Middle of the park, probably needs a bit shoring up, especially with De Bruyne, who's now leaving, and then Liverpool are going to be on the hunt for a couple of players. I think they probably need a new striker. I think they might think that Nunes isn't up to it and go and get somebody else. Arsenal probably needs a striker. I don't know if we've said that on this podcast before, but they're going to be on the lookout for a striker. And a whole host of other teams will be looking to strengthen their squad. So yeah, I think it is going to be a big summer. Yeah, I heard a debate earlier, and I can't remember the context of it too much. Would you say so? Arsenal probably going to finish second. Liverpool needs 6 points, I think it is.
I don't know. We're pushing our luck at the moment to get second.
Would you say it's been a success? So if Arsenal finish the season in second place, don't get anything else, just second place, which is probably likely going to happen. Would you say that's been a success for Mikel Arteta so far to finish second 3 years in a row?
Depends how far we get in Champions League this season. If we get to the semis or the final, I would say yes. But if we get knocked out now and we finish second, then I would say that's, at this point, it's probably what we should be at. But I think the 2 domestic cup runs where we didn't really have any run has let him down, because that kind of papers over a little bit. If you get
So
to the semis of the FA Cup or something, quarters of the Champions League and finish second, brilliant. Great season.
because this is where I think this is what the debate was about how deluded Arsenal fans can be, where we feel that we should be winning the Premier League and we should be winning the FA Cup. I mean, it is the Arsenal Cup, the FA Cup, but we should be winning the FA Cup. We should be, getting far in the Carabao, but who does anyone really care about that? Unless you're Newcastle. And then Champions League, we should be winning that. And I think, is that delusion for Arsenal?
Yeah, it's
because
very much so.
We actually shouldn't be there, and we should be really happy that Mikel Arteta has done a brilliant job of getting us into second place three years in a row. Probably fortunate that Man City have been off this season, and fortunate that Liverpool were off the season before, etc. So, had that going for us. But to get us in the Champions League compared to where he started with us next season, and again, this is this could be the delusion of Arsenal fans saying next season with a bit of money, with a new striker, with a new central midfielder to kind of start to take over from Partey but keep Partey, and then maybe with somebody Scout on the left to sort of fight with Martinelli, because I don't think Trossard is quite at the level. That could change us. That could flip us. Is that delusion, or is that the truth?
I don't think it's delusion, because the trajectory that the club's on at the moment, but we do have to think back to where we were at. Emery had a decent first season. Then his second season wasn't great, and that's why they made that change. But what Arteta's done is there was a clear vision the whole way through of where we're going to be at each stage. And I think we're kind of at that sort of final hurdle now of we need to now deliver a trophy for him to think he's been a success. But you can't guarantee success. No one deserves success. It's no one's God-given right. You've got to work and earn it. And I do think that we're doing everything right from that side of things. But which is why I said if we get to like the semi-finals or the finals these year, we don't need to win it and still come second. Yeah, we haven't won anything, but it's still a good season. But you always want your club to win, don't you?
Oh, of course. Yeah. I mean, of course.
So you're always going to think that.
The reason why I was kind of saying it was that Arsenal, I feel, as an Arsenal fan, are quite close to winning the league. They've been close to winning the league. They're quite close to winning the league. I feel like the Champions League is within our reach this season. I feel like, with all the players that we've got fit, if Gabriel had stayed fit, I feel defensively we were good enough to win the Champions League. Going forward, probably not, but we've still got a threat going forward with various different people. Rice Partey scored at the weekend. Saka obviously can bang in a goal, etc., etc. I mean, I also think, how close are Newcastle? They've got two. I think they've got a game or two in hand. No, a game in hand now against the teams, a couple of teams above them, and they're 3 points behind. They win that, then they're in the Champions League position. And you look at their squad: Gordon, Isak, Harvey Barnes, Tonali, Gomaresh, Joel Linton. You think they've got a fantastic core, and then you go to the back. You've got Livramento, you've got Pope, you've got Trippier, who they might want to start thinking about replacing as he gets a little bit older, and then the two centre backs. You think, are they both going to be there?
Good, yeah.
But they are good. But are they starting to sort of get a little bit older and need replacing? And actually, Newcastle have got a team there. Yeah, I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of teams. Bournemouth as well. They're going to be on the lookout for a couple of players. They might get raided. They might get a few players that leave.
I think they're going to lose. Yeah, I think they're going to lose more than they're going to gain. I think Kirkes is going to go. I think he'll be off to probably Liverpool. I think that Daniel Housen, I don't know how to pronounce his name. I know he's only had one season there. He's been linked with Arsenal, Chelsea, City, Real Madrid, Barcelona.
Yeah, he's the centre-back, isn't he? He's done very, very well.
I think if he's clever enough, he'll stay there for another season and then go. So he gets another year at top level. But if Real Madrid or someone like that's calling,
100%, yeah, you have to. You have to. I mean, Trent's just done it. You can imagine that he's
not yet. Come on, not yet.
You've got to think that he's probably like, wow. So there's that, and then you've got Aston Villa, who are absolutely who would be probably flying further than they would. Although Asensio missing 2 penalties has got to be, especially when Watkins was there ready to take that second one.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it?
That's difficult. But, with the team that Emery's building and the way that he's managing that team, they're exceptional at the moment. Man City will be there next season. Chelsea will be there next season. Next season looks like, in theory and on paper, like it's going to be a really, really good season, a really tight season, which I think for me also shows that Arteta has done a good job. But also, there are so many great managers. Eddie Howe, who's obviously unwell at the moment, has been in hospital. And we hope he gets better soon, of course. But how well he's done, how well Emery's done. We haven't even touched on Nottingham Forest yet, who played Everton at the weekend, didn't they? They were lucky it was 0-0 for so long, weren't they?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I do think so. But I think it's just, you don't necessarily have to have money anymore. Newcastle haven't spent tons of, they spent a fair whack on Isak and Gordon, to be fair, but
they spent a lot of money.
They haven't spent tons on the rest of their squad.
They haven't done Chelsea money or Man United money.
No, they've
done a lot. Yeah.
Absolutely. But then, Forest have done very well. They've been very clever in the market. Fulham have done very well. Forest done well. Villa have
Fulham
done well.
Is one
Bournemouth
that you don't
have
mention
done well.
Too much. Yeah.
Because you don't need to buy the best players. Buy people that are hungry to improve and have a good coaching team. Not just your manager or head coach or whatever. Make players better. I think that's what Howe's done so well. And now they're at a stage where they can hopefully spend a little bit more and then kick on and close the gap with your Cities, your Liverpools, your Arsenals to a certain extent. Because we've spent a fair whack as well. They're already competing with teams like that. Can they then usurp them with a little bit of extra firepower?
Yeah, it's really interesting, isn't it? Because I think this season has been, in terms of like the league where Liverpool have run away with it, and in terms of the relegation dogfight where it hasn't really been a dogfight, it's just been kind of the three that come up have gone back down, same as last year. But I think the Premier League in itself has actually been brilliant, has been really exciting. There's been some, Forest in the way they're going, and some of the, Chris Wood, who's went from, where was he? He was at Newcastle, wasn't he? And you just think, okay, yeah, I don't think he's going to account for anything. I think he's joint second top goal scorer in the Premier League this season, or maybe not joint, maybe he's third. But you just think, unbelievable! Just can't believe this has all happened. And with Man United and Tottenham going through their restructure, their rebuild, whatever that looks like over the next sort of 6 months, it's exciting, I think, to be in the Premier League. And I think we can get drawn into, but Liverpool ran away with it, and the bottom fight wasn't really a fight, but I think it's been really good.
Yeah, it depends where you're looking. I think both arguments of a boring season and a good season are valid, depending on who you look at. But I do agree, next season will be interesting, especially the summer.
Yeah,
I think I'm hoping there'll be a big transfer window. Not necessarily like money spent, but activity wise,
I think they've got to be shrewd, haven't they? They've almost got to do. Every club's almost got to do a Brighton where they pick somebody up for little money who's going to be superb, because there isn't, the amount of teams that we've said that need a striker. There ain't that many strikers out there.
No, exactly, and I think the tactics are shifting a little bit in football now as well. So you had the sort of false nine situation, and your sort of number 10 basically playing striker but holding off, so you've got people running off them and stuff. I think it's slowly reverting back to that out and out number 9 kind of role again now. Like your Haalands, your Delaps and players like that are coming back into it. So I think eventually there will be a shift, and it's just waiting for clubs to change that.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden that'll be great, and then all your sort of playmakers might not necessarily be as prominent anymore, or your false nines or whatever it may be. But just I think all of that contributes to the way the market goes and what the activity is and what people are going for.
Definitely. And I think in terms of exciting football, I think that the Man City Palace game was a real, because Palace, we haven't mentioned Palace, so they've had some really good games this season. But that game on Saturday, the early kickoff, was unreal. Brilliant. What a game! I couldn't believe what I was watching. It was kind of end to end, and then it was some of the best football Man City have played this season, and De Bruyne was absolutely outstanding.
Where does he go? Because he announced last week, didn't he, that he's off?
Yeah, I think I think two people out of that game, he was obviously by far the player of the game.
Mm.
I think he's probably going to go to, he could go anywhere. I think he could do really well in Italy. I think he could do really well if he went to somewhere like Atletico or, someone like that in Spain. But I think he'll probably go to the MLS or to Saudi. I think that's probably where his calling is.
I think Saudi.
Mm.
Yeah, I really think Saudi.
I can see that. I mean, he's too, he might be too pale skinned to go to Saudi, but you never know. But he wasn't listening. But yeah, I think I
started not to laugh at it.
I think Eza would. I think he's also one who could be leaving Palace at the end of the season, and because what a player he is, mate, he's fucking unbelievable.
Where does Eze go? Does he stay in the Prem? Do you think?
I hope so. Yeah, I wouldn't want to lose it. I'd quite like to see him. I think he'd fit really, really well at Arsenal. I think that he's exactly the sort of player that we need on that right wing to sort of challenge Martinelli and give us a bit of squad depth. Yeah, I also do feel that he could do really well at Manchester United. He could do really well, going into the Liverpool team. I don't know where he'd quite fit, but he'd definitely be pushing Diaz for a spot. So yeah, I mean, I think he could fit anywhere, really.
Interesting. I think maybe we do a little summer predictions of like transfers or where we think people will go, big movers. So I think this could be quite an interesting one because there's so many people.
Yeah, because there's also Tyler Dibbling at Southampton, who Russell Martin has said is the best player he's ever seen.
He's clearly not seen that many players, has he?
In that kind of that sort of training and that team element, he's saying that he's that good that Southampton have put that £100 million price tag on him. I think we spoke about that a couple of weeks ago, but he could probably go to any club if he's as good as people are saying. They could be bigging it up a little bit more, but he for me, what I've seen of him, I think he's got huge potential for his age.
Yeah, and I think it's, I don't know, maybe I'm just trying not to be that typical fan that falls victim of like the media hype around it. We always do it. If someone shows a glimmer of potential, we hype them up and hype them up and hype them up.
I think he's got it.
Sometimes don't deliver because
I think he's got it. I think he could be. I think he could reach Bale level.
Wow. Saying that, so I read something the other day. Do you think Saka is at Bale's level when he was at Spurs just before he left? Or is he higher? Is he lower?
He's a different type of player. He's Bale-esque. I can see a kind of similarity in the fact they both kick with their left foot. Bale had stronger.
And he was quicker.
And probably, I was going to say quicker, but then I was having a little internal debate about whether he was quicker than Saka is.
Bale was rapid, mate.
So quick, yeah. But like Saka isn't slow.
No,
I think the trouble is with Saka, he always has two men on him, so he doesn't really ever get to he goes deep, so he doesn't ever really get the opportunity to have that ball over the top where he can run on it and show his pace too much. But maybe that's why, because he hasn't got the pace. I don't know.
Yeah, Bale would just tap it round someone and just sprint.
So yeah, no, I think they are two very, very different players. But I think Saka's got the ability to get to that kind of level. Definitely, he's got the ability to do that.
Okay, interesting.
Anyway, anything you want to add?
Did we talk about Mo Salah? He's staying.
He is
staying at Liverpool.
And Virgil van Dijk after the game. Sorry,
another 2 years he's there, isn't he?
Yeah, so I thought you said 22 years. I was like, fucking hell, I didn't realise it was that long. And Van Dijk, I think after the game kind of said something that alluded to next week he's going to sign his contract as well. So they've, out of the three that we said, I think we said, out of those three, who would you definitely want to keep? We said Trent. They've kept the other two, which I don't know if that says more about us or them, but let's assume them.
Yeah, it's just, we looked at it kind of from the resale value, didn't we? And looking at potential. But for those key positions, I do think those two are irreplaceable. I feel like with Trent, I'm not saying, I'm going to say it, he's replaceable. His passing's incredible, but as a right back, not as Trent Alexander-Arnold, but as his position, I think he's replaceable. Whereas Van Dijk, I don't think he is. Mo Salah, I don't think he's replaceable.
They have to be, though. They have to be.
They'll get someone else, and they may have to change their style a little bit, and maybe someone can replace Van Dijk in the future. But I don't think there's many players in world football that can replace Van Dijk.
No.
You can have an alternative, but you can't replace him.
I think you probably could, but you're going to spend like ridiculous amounts of money on someone like Saliba, as an example. I think, Saliba's going to be, if you compare him to where Van Dijk was at a similar age, they're probably quite similar, and the trajectory could be the same. So I think there are other defenders out there, not just Saliba. So I think they are replaceable, and they have to be replaceable because after 2 years they're not going to get another contract. That's it. That's them gone now.
Yeah, and I think they're going to have to get someone in to start handing over the baton, so to speak. I don't think they've got anyone like Mo Salah. He is what he is. You can't replace that. You can get a different type of player. You can't replace what he does.
That touch that he had in the game at the weekend, where he just dragged it down, picked the ball out of the air, and you're just like, wow, what a
people
way
can do that, but to be able to do it with that aura and have that kind of connection with the club, with the city, with the fans, with your teammates, it's hard to replicate that. That takes years to build up, as we all know anyway, but it won't happen overnight. And they will replace him eventually, of course, they'll move on. But you'll still look back and go, God, do you remember him?
Yeah. And then with Van Dijk, who you could probably say, especially judging by Robertson's reaction, that it was kind of a Van Dijk error leading to that goal. Van Dijk then just goes up the other end a little bit later on and just nods the ball in the back of the net, and you're like, it's unbelievable. It's so frustrating as an.
And he never looks tired. I don't think the man's ever sweat in his life. Everything's just so simple for him because he just reads the game so well. So I mean, Saliba does as well. There's definitely similarities between the two of them. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting summer.
It is, and I've just thought of something actually. You have got goal of the week duties this week, and you have picked your goal of the week, haven't you? So you can announce that.
Yeah. Do you agree with this though? There's a couple, isn't there?
There's a couple. I think Sancho's one, in terms of the goal that was scored, was superb. I also did like Harvey Barnes, the way he just went, fuck this, they ain't going to get this ball off me, and just ran with it and just smashed the ball in the back of the net. I thought that was brilliant. But I can understand why you've gone for this one.
Sandro Tonali for Newcastle. It wasn't necessarily the goal, though. That was a nice, neat finish.
Great finish.
It was just the whole build-up play. Then Isak just plucking it out the air, somehow controlling it and flicking it. It was kind of like over his head almost, wasn't it? And still managed to keep everyone on side. Everyone's still making a perfect run. And Tonali just tapped it in. It was just incredible, the whole play. It just sums up a team that are just on form and playing and enjoying themselves. So yeah, FDP goal of the week, Sandro Tonali of Newcastle.
Congratulations, Sandro. Get in touch and we'll send you your trophy out to accept live on the podcast. So get in touch.
Absolutely. Looking forward to meeting you. Cheers, mate.
Should we end there?
Yeah, I think so. I thought that we was.
It just went weird. I don't know what you was doing.
I was like, cool, cheers.
Okay. Thanks, everyone.